We've escaped the set. We've gone rogue with the tech show. We're out at the Core Show to see all the hottest tech. We're here with Aeron, which is a tube brand, well, a TPU tube brand that we saw at COREbike. But now they've got some actual products. We've got prices starting from under £20 for the kind of normal version. And I say normal version, it's not like a TPU tube that I've seen before. They've worked really hard with the factory to develop a really sort of elastic TPU material, but gets all the same properties as TPU tubes, so really light, more robust than butyl. And yeah, interesting product. We saw this saddle just previewed at COREbike, but now here it is in production. This is the SMS saddle from Ergon. It is a short nose design. What's quite fun about it is that, well, they're introducing it, but all the saddle range, the longer nose ones, will continue. So if you want to try a shorter nose one, it's going to be available from April onwards. Here on the Topeak stand, we've got the Prep Station Team Issue. Prep Station has been around a while. It's a really nice toolbox that comes on wheels. It's easily portable, but the Team Issue version upgrades lots of the tools and incorporates some really nice extras like internal routing kit, some really nice parallel push pliers as well. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to save up. It is £1,200, but it's available from April, so I'm going to get saving. Here on the Crank Brothers stand, they've got a raft of pedals, but they also do shoes. They've got this rather cool mallet lace version in this rather fetching purple, a collab, or a kind of signature shoe, if you like, of Bernard Kerr. Fast downhill racer and clearly well-styled in shoes. There's more limited editions. There's the sand teal version of the mallet Velcro as well, which is, actually, I've got it wrong. This is the boa shoe. Yeah, very nice. Lovely, and you might not be able to see it from the distance that you're at, but a wonderful kind of like extra bit of texture on the shoe. Very nice for sandy rides. You found some grips on the physique stand. Well, sort of a physique stand. More on that another time. We've got two different grips. We've got Race Feel, which is the thinner grip, and then we've got the Comfort grip. So we've got, yeah, two widths. So the Comfort is the chunkier one, and then the Race Feel is thinner. 4 colours, and they look really nice. Apparently made in Italy as well, so nice find. Here on the PE stand, and we've discovered a new iteration of their tool rack, which is really popular. You can put quite a lot of in there, but now you can put a teeny bit more in because they've got this new design pocket. You've got 2 new colours as well. You've got earth, and then you've got this ocean blue. So yeah, PT's still innovating. Very special Norco site here. Blinged out, I think, is a fair call, including a Kashima headset spacer, which I've got to say I've never seen before. It's very nice attention to detail. Guess the big highlight on this wonderful bike is the new Fox Live valve. So we've got sensors at the front brake, we've got sensors at the rear brake, and then we've got a kind of brain, for want of a better word here, that does all the controlling of the rear shock. Very, very clever. Core Show is packed with lots of delights and treats, and here's a real treat. This is Richie Rude's actual SB160. A very, very fast bike. Fascinating bike here. Custom paint job on an Orco, all of which you kind of like, ooh, interesting. But this is Danny Hart's bike. This is going to be a very, very fast bike this year. Lots of little tweaks and stuff that we've seen as this bike sort of grows through its sort of evolution. So we've got lots of adjustment, flip chips, pretty much everywhere. So we've got one on the shock on the top, one at the bottom. There's a different linkage here to drive the shock. Then we've got different dropouts at the back. Again, they can be adjusted. Lots and lots of adjustment on this Proto. It's really fun to see. I've already said it's a very fast bike, and that's because this man here is going to be riding it. So, Danny, can you just tell me a little bit about your new bike?
Yeah, so we've got my Norco downhill bike. It's fresh out of the bag from New Zealand. Still a little dusty in places, but it looks quite good here in front of all of these brand new bikes. So, yeah, new downhill bike for me. Lots of adjustment, like pretty much need a mechanic every time I go because there's so much stuff to think about, which is a good thing for racing World Cups. This is actually one of Greg's frames. If you see, the headset is like -10 headset, so we needed to get me on a bike quickly, and this was the best way of going about it, and yeah, there it is.
Thank you very much. Lots of interesting chat. Be good to see you at the races.
Thank you.
Fascinating product here on the STG stand. It's designed around their Talus seat post, but I feel it would work on any dropper post, and that's a dedicated lube. So it's been cleverly designed to be different to the lube that you apply on your chain because, well, it's doing something different. So yeah, it's a mix, which is quite clever in itself, of a kind of a wax-based lube, but it's also got some detergents in there. And the idea is that it can pull out all the kind of the junk that gets around that garter seal and keep your seat post working longer. STG say you just have to apply it once a week and it should work, which is nice stuff. STG seat post, the Talus, this one is in a huge 230mm, but interestingly, it's got a nice adjustable shim kit in it, so you can change it, you can reduce the travel down by 20, 10 or 5mm. The head design is really unique as well. The bolts are coming in at a 45-degree angle versus sort of from the bottom or from the top, which I've got to say I've never seen before, and it looks like there's some sort of modularity. Perhaps there'll be a return of one of STG's original designs again. Hopefully you've watched the video where I talk about how different pros set up their cockpits and what lessons you can learn. One of the bars I used was this NINEXCIX bar from FSA. It's a really interesting one-piece bar and stem. It's in a range of different sizes and it feels really nice on the bike. Also interesting is that you can set it up with both a GoPro mount and a Garmin mount out front, a bit like a road setup, so it's really nice and clean and out of the way. We're on the Hope stand. There's lots of blingy, nice stuff, but there's this wonderful display, which is a kind of walk back in time. Lots of you will know Hope for making very nice hubs, but their first products were actually, well, disc brakes, and they attach those disc brakes to very nice hubs, and then the hubs have gone on to be, well, very popular. Interesting little wall of design. We've got from 1989 all the way up to some of the legendary big uns from the mid-90s. I remember these being the future of downhill. Interestingly, sometimes they had QRs, so you've got maximum stiffness from the hub, but then the interface to the frame, maybe not so maximum stiffness. We found the 5dev little booth, and as always, there's some beautiful things on here. And this is a new, very cool thing. This is a titanium bottom bracket. So the shell here is made from titanium by 5dev to their ultra-high precision standards. You've got an Enduro, I think it's XD15, which is their hybrid ceramic bottom bracket bearing. Yeah, just really amazing stuff. Hopefully there'll be more of these in the future. Another little find on the 5dev stand is handlebars, which I didn't realise they're doing, but they are. You've got two different versions at the moment. There is a 40mm rise 31.8 in an 800, and there's also a 35 diameter bar, and that comes with a 30mm rise. But I imagine, as with 5dev and all of their near custom level parts, there'll be lots more sizes to come. We talked about them recently on the Tech Show, and here they are in the, well, metal. I was going to say flesh, but they are a metal bar. We've got really high rise, 70mm, 60s and 50s, all in a very wide 820, but they are trimmable, but nice options from Renthal. Wrapped up in rims at Mavic. Yeah, Mavic here, and they've got their classic D-Max wheel. I say classic, it's more iconic. It's been a winning wheel in downhill for decades, and this latest version is probably one of the best I've seen. Different spoke pattern, slightly different spokes as well, but still that same amazing Mavic quality. ProLogo developed this saddle with the Athertons. This is the Proxima Nebo, which is their sort of, I guess, downhill saddle, but it looks like you could use it for a lot more than just downhill, which is good versatility. Another 3D printed saddle here. They're popping up everywhere, but this ProLogo one is award-winning and also said to be the lightest on sale. Looks good. It's not all amazing tech here. Some of it's amazing tapestry too. We're here with Magura, and this is their Gustaf Pro, which is their new brake for this year. We saw it at EuroBike last year, but now we're seeing it sort of in detail, and soon, we're talking about April, at least in the UK, it'll be available to buy, and in a limited edition Founders, because Magura have been making brakes a long time, and Magura think that they're making the first hydraulic disc brake for, well, mountain bikes and bikes in general, which is impressive. Other stuff that's impressive is, well, just the size of this caliper and the size of the rotor. It's a 2.5mm rotor, so it's got a lot more material in it, which is all about dissipating heat. Including on the pads, they've got these sort of cooling tabs, I think we could describe them as, but an elongation of the tab material on the back of the pad. You've still got magnetic pad retention in there, as well as the bolt, so nice details. It's got a new bleed port and bleed system, but the same cable. And up at the lever, there's a quick connector, so you can kind of quickly transfer or switch over. And lots of Magura fancy tech. Good vibrations here at USE. if you're kind of older and a bit like me, you'd probably remember USE as a kind of a brand of making stems and components in the 90s, and they did lots of good stuff. Well, they're back. Their kind of sister brand, or brother brand, Exposure Lights, took a lot of the spotlight, if you like, but now USE are back, and they're back with these very cool little suspension stems, which offer on-the-fly adjustment, which is not something we've seen from a suspension stem for a while. It's really interesting to see Liat, who are a helmet and safety brand, moving into lots of other products, including pedals and grips. Wow, that was a lot from Core Show. Let me know what your favourites are, because, well, I've got my own. Maybe you can tell what they are. Last week, we talked about Klein and sort of where that brand and why that brand is important. And I asked you, what iconic 90s sitcom featured a green Klein? Because there have been Kleins in other shows too. So the answer that I was looking for was Seinfeld, of course. And I thought, you know what? Not that many people are going to really care too much about Klein. I was wrong. Lots of you love Klein, so that's great to know. And lots of you clearly are massive Seinfeld fans as well, because I think it's a record answers to the quiz. We've got, well, last count was about 49 people, so hopefully we can squeeze you all on screen, but thank you very much. Got to do a more challenging question, I think, this week. So, at Core Show, we saw Danny Hart's bike. We chatted to Danny as well, which is very good. And he is a real legend of the sport. So here's my question. He's won an elite title, World Championships, twice. What bikes was he on for both those wins? Answers in the comments below. Okay, we've got a great hashtag AskGMBNTech. That's the hashtag that you can use anywhere in GMBN Tech, and we'll answer your questions. So if you've got a burning question about something techie, use the hashtag AskGMBNTech, and well, we'll try and answer it. And we've got a great one here from Matea Slee. I think that's your name. I apologise for mispronunciations. So he's looking at different tyres. He's got some knobby tyres on at the moment. I'm being kind, he's got knobby nicks on. And he's thinking about some mezcals. And he doesn't want the tyres to look like gravel tyres, but he wants something that's got lower rolling resistance. This is a great question, because changing tyres to suit how and where you're riding can make a humongous difference. Probably the biggest difference you can make to your bike. Because, well, tyres do loads. They do, traction, they give us control, they can increase or decrease rolling resistance, which makes your bike feel fast and more efficient. The old logic on kind of rolling efficiency was that a skinny tyre pumped up hard was more efficient. And I'm sure there'll be some people in the comments saying, no, it feels faster, it is faster. Unfortunately, that feedback loop of having a tyre, narrow or big, and pumping up really hard, you get lots of feedback from the trail. Even on the road, you get some feedback, and it makes you think it's fast. Because out in the real world, it's now been proven, even by roadies who are running skinny tyres, that a lower pressure, okay, not flat, but a lower pressure rolls more efficiently. I was talking to Kenta Gallagher recently, and he was saying that some of his pro racers are running pressures as low as 15 psi. Okay, these are XC whippets, but still, that is a exceedingly low pressure. Right, so we've moved away from pressure being the kind of indicator of rolling resistance. The old logic still there is that these skinny tyres roll more efficiently, and that again isn't the case, because with a bigger tyre you can get, well, lower pressure more safely, and that bit is the key to behind sort of rolling resistance. I should flag also, depending on the kind of style of knobs on your tyre, that will change how the tyre rolls as well. So if you've got really big tread lugs on there, really big gaps in between, then yeah, the tyre can sort of fall into those. You'll get loads of traction in soft conditions, but they can roll slower. Back to mezcals. They are really fast rolling in the right conditions. They've got lots of working edges, so there's lots of grip on hard surfaces and bits of soft conditions. So they've not got loads of bite, so they're not like a soft condition tyre, but they will be much faster rolling, I would say, than a knobby nick. So yeah, they've got a raft of sizes. They've got mezcals available in 26, 2.75, 29, and they've got them in sizes up to 2.6. I think that would be a really good size. Really fast, really grippy. Let us know how you get on. And don't forget to use the hashtag AskGMBNTech for any of your questions. Okay, Comments, my favourite section. This is where I get to chat with you and you get to chat with me, and it is really fun. So if you've seen anything on this week's show that you really like, get in the comments, get involved in that debate. So last week we were talking about Klein. So if you haven't watched it, go back and tune in. We're talking about why Klein was a really influential brand and why, because of that brand, we're all riding better alloy bikes. And we've got some great comments. There was loads and loads of comments on the show, but Truckee68 has got two really good ones. So his best ever bike, and I've got to say, it sounds incredible, is a 1991 Klein Attitude in a watermelon fade, aka the team fade with thumb shifters. Truckee68 also picked up Gary at Logan Boston Airport to drive him to the Mount Snow Vermont race. So that was, I assume, a Norba, which back in the day, Norbas were almost as big, if not bigger, than World Cups. And yeah, apparently Gary said, I did it. And Truckee said, what? He signed the papers to sell his company to Trek. And Truckee says, a sad day in Klein history. Yeah, I think that was a general vibe from lots of people. Andy Amos, he was a wonderful comment here. He was on a design course in the kind of late 80s, and he actually wrote to Gary Klein and Gary Fisher asking for research for his own project. Both of them wrote back. Sadly, they're lost in the mists of time. Skipper K9 Champ 215, great name there. He still rides in 1992 Rascal Rigid in a pink and purple fade. Elizabeth Pooley says, why has no one mentioned the Klein Mantra? I'd love to get one in good condition. I love the weird look. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to talk about with the Klein Mantra. It was an iconic full suspension bike. I feel like there was lots of comments. It is a wild bike. Maybe we'll save a whole tech show on, suspension systems that have been lost, but are still iconic. And finally, we've got Bonkosaurus Rex. Fantastic name. What is Seinfeld? Well, we're just going to end on that one. Coming up this week, we've got a Are You Destroying Your Disc Brakes video and a deep dive into the history of the mountain bike wheels. Yeah, we get nerdy. Of course, if you've seen something on this show all about that new hottest tech from Core Show, get in the debates, get involved in the discussion. It's really good. I'm there. Lots and lots of fans are in there. And I should say, if you haven't subscribed already, do. It makes a really big difference to the amount of content that we can create here. And if you've got ideas, stick them in the comments too.